everybody. Cal Banyan here, Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc., where we talk about hypnosis, etc. We try to keep it fun, interesting, informative, upbeat, as we get across and just some cool educational stuff that we think that all hypnotists, hypnotherapists, consulting hypnotists, whatever you want to call yourselves, need to know to lift the profession so that we can better serve our clients and have more successful practices of hypnosis so that everyone who wants to go full-time in the profession can. And I'm delighted to be back, third episode in a row with Meredith Locker. Meredith Locker is a true Hypno 1%er. She's among the best of the best in the profession. She used to be a talk therapist before I brought her over to hypnosis. She was the hypno-curious, and then, well, bam! She became a 5-path or a 7-path teacher, and she's loving it, and she's gracing us with her presence so that she can give her perspective about how to be a successful hypnotherapist or hypnotist. And how you doing, Meredith?
I'm good. Hi, Cal. Hi, everybody. So I want to make sure you guys know who Cal is. Cal, like me, came from the psychology field, got hooked into hypnosis, and he has just taken the hypnosis world by storm. He's the author of many books. He created 5-Path, the one-on-one hypnosis process for change that I use with every single client. 7th Path self-hypnosis brought that to us, and he is the one that trains the best of the best, the 1%ers in the profession. Thank you so much, Cal, for all you do for me and for everybody in the profession, including these free training podcasts that we put out week after week. Thank you.
This is just crazy, isn't it?
It is.
But now, what's really cool about this is that we go to like the Solid Gold Weekend, or we go to the NGH convention, and we see all these people that it's like they know us because they've heard our voice, and they go, I recognize your voice from down the hall, and I had to run over and say hi. So if you see Meredith, or myself, or Celeste, or now the new Brenda, guess what? We love it when you come up and say hello and tell us that you watch the show. Isn't that right?
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to meet you guys. Please do. Please come and say hi. I don't understand people kind of being shy or being intimidated. Like, I am the wackiest, goofiest, most approachable person. Really, please come and say hello to me. And I really hope you guys come to the convention. We had so much fun last year. It was, in fact, my own mom came and had so much fun. She insists on coming again. She took classes. She's not a hypnotist, but she loved it, learned so much. Please come join us, play with us. We're gonna learn a lot and have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. So what the heck are we doing today?
Well, we are continuing our beautiful series on the 10 keys to client retention, such an important topic. And we last podcast we got into keys 4 through 6, and we're going to continue on today. But just as a quick recap, if you haven't watched the previous 2 episodes, please do go back and watch those now. But just as a quick recap, just in case, number 4, you want to have unconditional positive regard for your clients. So having that non-judging approach, or that atmosphere, that experience for them, preparing them for their hypnosis by being first feeling accepted, basically. Number 5, you want to set an expectation for the number of sessions. So you want to make it clear this isn't going to be a one-shot deal. This is going to be a process. You know, successful hypnosis is a process, and I always share with my clients that it's going to be about 5 to 6 sessions, and then they can decide ahead of time if that's something that they're open to or not. Number 6, you never, ever, ever, ever want to tell your clients specifically what you're going to be doing with them in the hypnosis. So you want to just let that be up to the subconscious mind and tell the conscious mind the general things that it needs to hear so that they can commit to the work that they're going to do. Good?
Beautiful. You know, because the clients are really more interested in outcome than they are in the process. Hypnotists, we're all excited about the process more than the outcome because, you know, we're like hypno geeks, really. We want to know all the little minutiae and the names and the levels and how to test for the levels and convince and all that stuff. The clients are more centered on outcome, and that's the way it should be. All right, let's see. What do we got here? We're going to number 7. May I take number 7?
Please.
All right. Hey, every hypnosis session whether it be with tears or pillow pounding or whatever it is, needs to end in a very pleasurable way. So number 7 is end sessions with feeling good. If the mind mainly remembers of any event the beginning and the end. And so if you take, we'll continue to talk about age regression as an example, and typically you visit some unpleasant times. And this is one of the biggest times when people lose their clients. Is what will happen is they'll do a regression, and we might spend half the episode just on this thing because it's so important. They'll do the age regression. They visit maybe 3 events on the way back to the first event, and it's an unpleasant situation. Then there's another unpleasant situation. To go back further, it might be unpleasant and embarrassing. And then we find the ISC, initial sensitizing event, and it might even been scary. And in extreme circumstances, it might even been traumatic. And you know what? Now it's like you freshened the wound. Now we got to do some healing of that wound emotionally. And so it's very, very important that you do a complete informed child technique here, where you really bring in the knowledge of the adult. You need to make absolutely sure that you save enough time to do excellent informed child technique work, where you go in and you give that child whatever information he or she needs so that she can go through that ISC again without being negatively affected by it. And even better, as you begin to master this, you go from just like neutralizing the ISC, which is kind of like a beginner's approach. We don't just say neutralize ISC. What we want to do is, if we can, we want to take them from fear, anger, guilt, these kind of feelings, into a state of gratitude and wisdom. Because how many times have we said to ourselves, oh, I wish I would have known then what I know now. And doing excellent age regression, we can actually allow our clients to know then what they know now, shift from the pain and suffering of emotional pain into gratitude and wisdom. And when you do that kind of work, then your clients see how they shift so powerfully that they're so grateful and the change is so profound. So we want to shift them from pain to pleasure to gratitude. We can then run them through the SSCs, experiencing that positive shift. We can then have them do some age progression if there's time. To have with those positive experiences from their probable future put into their mind. It's so uplifting. It's a lightening of the heaviness of the emotional pain, and it is a lifting into a feeling of power and pleasure and confidence. Now, here's an insider tip. If you do not have time in your session to get all that done, you must still save time to do this work as a bare minimum. Excellent informed child technique work so they can experience that change. Then a segue into direct suggestion with the benefits tied in. When you do this, no matter how painful or embarrassing or fearful the events were that you were visited, it becomes worth it because they experience this powerful shift that they weren't able to accomplish any other way. So go back to the ISC, make that powerful shift. If you don't have time to get to the ISC, here's the insider tip. Deal with whatever SSC, subsequent sensitizing event. These are the events that happened later on in life that you're visited in the age regression on your way to the ISC. So, let's say you need 15 minutes to do a great informed child work and to uncover what the changes that have happened and how they think and how they feel, so that they have the wisdom and insight. And a segue that says, now that you've had this change in how you think and how you feel, you're going to be able to accept these suggestions more powerfully than ever before. Suggestion for the change that they came in for, benefit. Suggestion for the change they came in for, followed by the benefit, and so on. It's more important that you make that age regression experience transformative, to some degree and pleasurable than it is that you get the ISE. Now, next session, you're going to go in and get that ISE, okay? And they will come back if they feel like it was transformative and it was positive. You see, and after they emerge, you always want to end it with, and you do feel good, don't you? So you want to make it be a very positive, emotional experience, and they will come back to do more. You want to add to that, Meredith?
Yeah, so Cal, what about I've changed because now I know? How does that play into this?
So when we do the informed child work, and so we've uncovered the ISE, or if we didn't have time, we're just doing the SSE, because we've got to have that transformative experience. We have the grown-up go back, and before the grown-up goes back, I'll say, boy, grown-up, remember the client has two aspects when we do age regression. There's the grown-up part, and there's the regressed part. And I'll say, grown-up boy, sure be nice if you know then what you know now, right? And we'll talk about it. Yeah, I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known this. How would have that positively affected you? Oh, if I knew that, then I wouldn't have had to be afraid, or I wouldn't have felt bad about myself, or I never would have believed my big brother when he said that I wasn't loved by my mom, or whatever the problem was, you see? So we'll go back, we'll give that information to that younger aspect of themselves, the child, the regressed aspect. And then once that's accepted, then we'll say to that individual, that aspect, that younger part of them, put an ending on this. I've changed because now I know. I've changed because now I feel. Now when they say I've changed because now I know, that tells you how the beliefs in the subconscious mind have been transformed. Then when they say I've changed because now I feel, that lets you know how the emotional feeling component has changed. Then we can say, in the segue, we say, now that you know this and you feel that, you'll be able to accept these suggestions more powerfully than ever before. Then we give the suggestions for what they came in for, and then the benefits they can expect. How's that, Meredith?
Yeah, and so you're doing this in the hypnosis, but at the end of session, after you've emerged them, you can ask them again, yeah?
Exactly. And we get into that a little bit more in number 10.
Beautiful.
All right.
And I was trying to think if there was anything else to get into. We want to get into the stronger and weaker then too?
Yeah, so, there's two times when we do this. Let's see. I've changed because now I know. I've changed because now I feel. And I like to also say, are you stronger or weaker for having known this or experienced this? And they'll almost always say, I'm stronger. And in fact, I've never had anyone say I'm weaker. They always say, I'm stronger. And so what that does is it adds value to the experience. And so right now I'm talking about making sure the sessions feel good. And we're going to talk about in number 10 how we can compound this effect upon emerging. Good. All right. Number 8. I'll do it.
Okay. Well, I think we just had an earthquake.
No, that was just me getting excited.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Number 8.
Number 8. Work on what they want to work on. Now, this is kind of tricky, because there's a saying that goes among the 5 pathers, they only think they're coming in for weight loss, okay? Because we're going to find out that really what's happening is they have an issue inside of them that usually has to do with an emotion that they don't like, that's causing them, they're using food as a distractor, or they only think they're coming in to get rid of their workaholicism, or they only think they're coming in to get rid of their shyness. Really, these things are a result of some other issues that are going on in the subconscious mind. So, and the hypnotherapist can really begin to understand that as they're doing the age regression, the forgiveness work, and the parts work. But you've got to keep in mind that as you shift those beliefs inside of the subconscious mind, and that which results in the release and transformation of the painful emotions into things like gratitude and wisdom, that you need to always reinforce that you are not just doing emotional work for the sake of doing emotional work, that you are working on their issue. And that's where it's really important, and a big part of why I developed the segue in the first place, because I'd have clients that when I did that emotional work that was, from my point of view, obviously connected to why they came in, that some clients didn't really understand that. So in the segue, we want to say, now that you know this and now you feel that, you're going to be able to accept these suggestions more powerfully than ever before. So like, let's say they came in for nail biting, and then when you do the age regression on the emotion behind the nail biting, you find out that they were terrified by a stepdad. Like, all of a sudden this new man comes into their life, they're 4 years old, and they've really got no way to distract themselves from this emotion. And so they do kind of an infantile response, putting their hands in their mouth. They catch the nail, they start biting on the nail, and that's how the nail biting started. And so it's more than just a behavioral problem. The nail biting started off serving a purpose of taking their mind away from the fear and anxiety that they experience because of this new man that's around. So we have to remove the fear and anxiety with the regression, and also with the forgiveness work, and perhaps with parts work later on, parts mediation work. And if we don't point out that we are doing this to alleviate the problem they came in for, sometimes they won't get that and they'll be angry. Angry clients don't come back. And so what we say is, now that you know that the nail biting was caused because you were nervous, and this is my words. I mean, it's my words, but it's not my idea. It's all what was revealed in the insight work, that you were really nervous about this man that your mother had married who was becoming your father, and it started then because you were nervous, which is fear, and we've removed that fear. And so now you're going to be able to accept these suggestions more powerfully than ever before. Whenever your hand or your fingers move towards your mouth in a way that in the past you would have bitten your nails, you'll immediately become aware of it. You'll take a deep breath, exhale, feel the relaxation, the strength inside of you. Straighten your arm out, put it down on your lap, and you know what? You will feel calm and stronger and more in control, and you'll immediately think about how your nails are going to become longer and healthier, and you'll be able to paint them and go get stuff done to them like girls like to get done. Of course, I'd be a little bit more prepared than I am right now for a nail biting, direct suggestion kind of thing. And how would that have occurred? Because I would have talked to my client about why that individual wanted to stop biting her nails, and I would give that information back. So always focusing on what the client came in for. Meredith?
Yeah, well, and this goes for right off the bat when a client contacts you, if whatever they want to work on isn't something that you would like to work on, isn't something that you can appreciate, or if it's something that you'll be judging, or if you're coming from the state of mind that, oh, they only think they want that, they really want something else, so I'll just let them think that, but I'll really work on this other stuff with them over here. I mean, that's not unconditional positive regard. So if you can't honor what it is that they are wanting to work on, just personally or actually within the work itself, maybe you need to refer them out to someone else.
Exactly. And that's like, I will have once in a while in class someone say, I really don't want to work with fill in the blank, and like childhood sexual abuse or something like that. And the deal is, you can't know what the core issue of the problem is until you uncover it with the regression. Someone might be in for something very minor, or seems to us to be minor, like nail biting, but it is really caused by some way to manage their emotions that came from some kind of sexual abuse and that kind of stuff. All right. Should we do the next one?
I think so.
All right. The next one. This is very simple, so we can get this in very quickly. Meredith, go ahead.
Number 9, you want to convince your client that they were hypnotized. Yes.
Yeah, if you've got someone and they're coming in, they're paying $100, $150, $200, $250, $300, whatever it is they're coming in to see you as a hypnotist, the very minimum that they want is to get hypnotized. And if you don't use convincers, then your clients go away wondering if you really did anything. Did I just get relaxed? Did I just fall asleep? What was going on? And that's like one of the most fundamental things. And the proper way to do convincers is you want to do covert testing, secret testing, testing that the client doesn't know about. Well, of course, first of all, you have to have an induction that's designed to take someone into a deep level of hypnosis, Harry Aaron stage 4 or deeper, okay? Such as the Banyan induction. And if you don't know how to use the Banyan induction, go to hypnosis.org, and I've got a video there, and you can learn how to do it. And it's an induction that takes 3 or 4 minutes. It's designed to take people to somnambulism. So use that induction or any other induction that's proven successful to take people, clients consistently to stage 4 or deeper, somnambulism, test for it covertly, and then, under these circumstances only, covertly tested for somnambulism, do a test for a lighter state of hypnosis, such as eye lock or arm catalepsy. You see, when we have already tested for a deep level of hypnosis, we are certain, or as certain as we can be, that the individual will pass a test for a light level of hypnosis. They become convinced of some very powerful things. First of all, you did your excellent pre-talk, and you tried to remove fears and misconceptions about hypnosis that could inhibit someone from going into hypnosis quickly. But they still have a couple of fears. And the main fear is that they can't be hypnotized. And when you convince them that they're hypnotized, they instantly know that hypnosis is real, that you are a good hypnotist, and that they can be hypnotized. Now you're off to some real successful hypnosis work. It's the best way to be. So always, always convince them they're hypnotized, or they may never come back to finish the sessions. Anything you want to add to that, Meredith?
Yeah, nobody knows when they're in hypnosis, and so many people have these misperceptions about what hypnosis is or isn't, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to be like. And even if you do a really amazing pre-talk and you clarify and you dispel a whole bunch of misperceptions, that doesn't mean that you obliterated all of them. And so it's really important to tap into the issues that clients might be having or the reservations they may be having, and clarify any continued perpetual misperceptions that might keep coming up, so that isn't your stumbling block. Yeah. I think we're out of time, Cal.
Again.
Yes, we are.
Hey, so let me just squeeze this in a little hypno tease here. You got to come back for next video, because we're going to cover about additional things you can do after the session is over to help ensure that the clients are going to come back. And some of them are kind of hypnotic, and some of them are just good business process. And, it's about giving them a reason to come back, and they'll do it. All right, we'll wrap it up.
Beautiful. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, those of you who submitted your comments or your questions that led to this beautiful 10 Keys series. And I really, really want to hear from you. My email is meredith@yourpathhypnosis.com. Please post your feedback or questions at calbanyan.com, just down there. Our Hypnospace, the Ask Cal group, or find us on Facebook/hypnosis etc. This is Meredith Blocker signing off.
Thank you, Meredith. And to all you folks out there, you know what? Make sure you check, if you're watching these videos anywhere except calbanyan.com, you want to go there, because right below this video, right down there, there's additional text. There's additional graphics and additional links that really make these podcasts more valuable to you. And by the way, I don't ever mention them, but almost always we have a weekly special. Check those out because they're deals you're just not going to be able to get anywhere else any other time. That's it. Cal Banyan, see you in class, see you at the convention, see you at Solid Gold, see you at all the really important hypnosis events. Cal Banyan, signing off.
This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and the Banyan Hypnosis Center for Training and Services, Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without permission. For contact information, go to www.hypnosiscenter.com.